Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another entry in the Hyrule Compendium. Today, our topic comes from commenter Phosphorus. They were wondering what our happiest moments in The Legend of Zelda are.
So I was giving this some thought, and I realized that almost all of the happy moments in Zelda take place in the endings of the game.
Yeah, that's where my train of thought directed me first, too.
Right. Like, what were the first thoughts you were thinking of?
Well, this is essentially my number one moment, but for me, Majora's Mask end credits, particularly the wedding scene for Anju and Kafai. You see all the characters there, everything's happy.
Isn't she walking down the aisle?
Yes. You see her in her wedding dress. That's pretty awesome. You know, you also see some other characters in the game. You see the Indiegogo's jamming, and you see all the characters, their lives are happy now.
Yeah, so, I guess I don't know if we're really counting endings, but just to go over some of the endings, A Link to the Past is another one. Everybody's story has gotten better, or come to a conclusion. Your uncle is well again. The bug-catching kid is no longer sick. He's up and going.
I love that they give them all those little titles, too.
Right, yeah.
You know, the bug-catching kid is well. You know, that's not what they say, but...
Yeah.
That was cute.
And the old man is still lost on the mountain, but he's walking around.
He's at least having a good time up there.
Yeah. And it's the mood, it's the music. The whole thing, fits the scene. And it's just happy. It makes me smile.
Another one that came to my mind was Ocarina of Time. You know, everyone's hanging at Long Lawn Ranch, having a good time.
Did you ever notice there are kokiri there?
Is that canon then?
I don't know.
There's like a post-credits scene where they're like turned into Skull Kids or whatever happens. Stalfos when they leave.
Or Skull Kids. I don't know what they turn into. One of those things.
We don't know the lore.
And there's that scene, spoilers, sort of. At the end of the Champions Ballad, you take a picture with Link, Zelda, and the 4 champions. It's kind of like a goofy picture. It reminded me a little bit of a throwback from the ending of Ocarina of Time, where I think it's on Death Mountain, where all the sages, they're like hanging out together.
It's like the super group.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I felt with the champions as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar, actually, when you think about it.
The train of thought that I had after that was, I was thinking like the next happiest thing in the game is like after you beat a dungeon and you see like the after effects. One that really stuck out to me was, it's more of a funny moment, but in Ocarina of Time, after you clear Dodongo's cavern, and there's the whole scene where all the Gorons are trying to hug you. And you know, that's a pretty feel-good moment. A little goofy, but it's a good one.
So one of my favorite or happiest moments is also from Majora's Mask. And it's kind of I don't know if it's a sad moment, but there's always a blurry line between happy and sad with Zelda. But it's with Pamela and Pamela's father over at the music box in Kana Canyon. It's obviously that whole area is kind of dreadful. It's like deserted and surrounded by redeads and everything. There's this one little girl, and you find like her zombified dad, and then you play the Song of Healing, and he comes back to life, his human form, and they hug it out.
It's certainly a touching moment.
It's a tearjerker a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously, I understand what you mean with the sadness, but it's like that you're safe now kind of moment. So
yeah. So I don't know if that's a completely happy thing, but it brings a smile to my face and a tear to my eye.
Another one for me is when you beat the forest level in Wind Waker, and there's the celebration, Makar. Yeah, they're singing. It's extremely cute, you know.
That's a good one.
Yeah, just Makar is one of the cutest characters in Zelda. Any scene where he's playing his violin is adorable.
I think Wind Waker is one of the few games in the series where, outside of if you go around the Forsaken Fortress, it's a little dreary, I guess. Generally speaking, that world it's kind of empty, but it's happy. Blue skies, open ocean, the islands are...
The music.
Yeah. You don't feel like the dread that you do in games like Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword or Breath of the Wild, where much of the world is deserted and just kind of sad. you know.
Yeah, and a lot of those games are like constantly reminded. There's something looming, like the moon, or you can see the castle shrouded in twilight. Or...
Yeah, I'm gonna just lump the cel-shaded games in general, as they're just happier games overall. And there's some cutesy things, and one of my other ones is from Phantom Hourglass. It's not exactly, it was something that it always brings a smile on my face every time I see it. So, you know, Link, he's got his fairy, Sela, but then, like, he awakens the fairy, I think its name is Leaf, in the Temple of Fire, and then he awakens Neri in the Temple of Wind. So now he's got these 3 fairies, and they're almost like kids. And Link himself is almost like a child in that one. And then he sees the fairy, and he's like looking around as they're flying around him. Like, it's a very joyous scene. You don't really see that in Zelda games too often.
I have a bonus one, if I can
Okay.
throw it in. The whole face turn of Groose. Like, all the scenes involving him in that game. First, he's funny but mean, but one scene that sticks out is when he follows you down to the surface. It's hilarious. And then it's heartwarming eventually when he, you know, creates the Groosinator and helps you out. Groose in that scene it melts my icy heart a little bit.
Yeah, he makes me laugh.
You get more of that in Zelda than just like pure, non-comedy happiness.
You're right.
Just fine. Or bittersweet.
There's a lot of that. You know?
Yeah.
In Breath of the Wild, there's a lot of that too, because of the champions. Whenever you have happy moments involving dead people,
it's a bit confusing on how you're supposed to feel. Not in a bad way, but, you know, like tugging on your heartstrings way. So those were our happiest moments in the Legend of Zelda series. Let us know in the comments. There's a ton we could have mentioned, so, you know, let us know what you would say. Let us know what other topics you want us to discuss. Check out some of our other videos. And thanks for watching.